Thank you so much for joining His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Today we are continuing with the Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, 8th chapter, and today's verse is 21. Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for your time, Maharaj. I'll share my screen, the verse.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Samplava Sarva Bhutanam Vikramam Prati Sankramaha Istabhu Tasya Kamayanam Trivagasya Chayo Vidihi. Please explain unto me how the living beings are generated, how they are maintained, and how they are annihilated. Tell me also of the advantages and disadvantages of discharging devotional service unto the Lord. What are the Vedic rituals and injunctions of the supplementary Vedic rites? And what are the procedures of religion, economic development, and sense gratification? Report. Samplava, in the sense of perfect means, is employed to denote the discharging of devotional service, and prati samplava means just the opposite, or that which destroys the progress of devotional service. One who is firmly situated in devotional service of the Lord can very easily execute the functions of conditional life. Living the conditional life is just like plying a boat in the middle of the ocean. One is completely at the mercy of the ocean, and at every minute there is every chance of being drowned in the ocean by slight agitation. If the atmosphere is all right, the boat can ply very easily, undoubtedly, but if there is some storm, fog, wind, or cloud, there is every possibility of being drowned in the ocean. No one can control the whims of the ocean. However, one may be materially well equipped. One who has crossed the oceans by ships may have sufficient experience of such dependence on the mercy of the ocean. Prabhupada's talking about himself now as he travels across the ocean from India to Boston Harbor. But one can fly over the ocean of material existence by the grace of the Lord very easily without any fear of storm or fog. It all depends on the will of the Lord. No one can help if there is some unfortunate danger in the state of conditional life. Devotees of the Lord, however, cross the ocean of material existence without anxiety because a pure devotee is always protected by the Lord, which is stated in 9:13 Bhagavad Gita. Lord gives special attention to his devotees and their activities within material conditional life from 9:29. Therefore, everyone should take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and be a pure devotee of the Lord by all means. One should know, therefore, from the expert spiritual master, the advantages and disadvantages of the discharging devotional service, such as Maharaj Parikshit asked his spiritual master, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, according to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the science of devotional service, one should not eat more than what he requires to maintain body and soul together. Vegetable diets and milk are sufficient for maintenance of the human body, and therefore there is no need to eat anything more to satisfy the palate. One should also not accumulate money to become puffed up in the material world. One should earn his livelihood very easily and honestly. For it is better to become a coolie in an honest livelihood than to become a great man in the society by hook or crook. There is no harm. One becomes the richest man in the world by honest dealings. But one should not sacrifice the honest means of livelihood simply to accumulate wealth. Such an endeavor is harmful to devotional service. One should not talk nonsense. The devotee's business is to earn the favor of the Lord. Therefore, devotees should always glorify the Lord in his wonderful creation. Devotee should not decry the creation of the Lord by defying him by saying that he has created a false world. The world is not false. Actually, we have to take so many things from the world for our maintenance, so how can we say that the world is false? Similarly, how can we think of the Lord as being without form? How can one become formless at the same time have all intelligence and consciousness, direct and indirect? There are so many things for a pure devotee to learn, and he should learn them perfectly from a bona fide personality, like Sukdev Goswami. The favorable conditions for discharging devotional service are that one should be very enthusiastic in serving the Lord. The Lord in this form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted the cult of devotional service to the Lord to be preached all over the world, in every nook and corner, and therefore a pure devotee's duty is to discharge the order as far as possible. Every devotee should be very enthusiastic, not only in performing his daily rituals of devotional service, but in trying to preach the cult peacefully by following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. If he is not superficially successful in such attempt, he should not be deterred from the discharge of his duty. Success or failure has no meaning for a pure devotee because he is a soldier in the field. Preaching the culture of devotional service is like declaring war against materialistic life. There are different kinds of materialists, such as the fruit of workers, the mental speculators, the mystic jugglers, and so many others. All of them are against the existence of God. They would declare that they are themselves God, although in every step, in every action, they are dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Therefore, a pure devotee may not associate with such gangs of atheists. A strong devotee of the Lord will not be misled by such atheistic propaganda of non-devotees, but a neophyte devotee should be very cautious about them. Devotees should see to the right discharge of devotional service of the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master and should not stick only to formalities. Under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, one should see how much service is being executed. And should not say, "Oh yeah, don't do all that. You get me confused." A devotee should not hanker after anything, but he should be satisfied with things that may automatically come to him by the will of the Lord. These are very important principles. That should be the principle of devotional life. I'll read that again. A devotee should not hanker after anything. Should be satisfied with things that may come automatically to him by the will of the Lord. That should be the principle of devotional life. And all these principles are easily learned under the guidance of the spiritual master like Sukadev Goswami. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from Sukadev correctly, and one should follow his example. Maharaj Parikshit inquired about the process of creation, maintenance, then destruction of the material world, the process of Vedic rituals, and the method for executing pious activities in terms of the supplementary Vedas like the Puranas and the Mahabharata. As explained before, the Mahabharata is the history of ancient India, and so also are the Puranas. Pious acts are prescribed in the supplementary Vedas, the Smritis, which specifically mention digging tanks and wells for the water supply of people in general, to plant trees on the public roads, to construct public temples and places of worship of God, to establish places of charity where the poor destitutes can be provided with foodstuffs. And similarly, activities are called purta. Similarly, the process of fulfilling the natural desires for sense gratification were also inquired about the king for the benefit of all concerned. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyanajana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vircharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Vastyatya Satarine Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhupe Vacha Patitanam Bhavane Vaishnave Bhyo Namaho Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhupe Vacha Patitanam Bhavane Bhyo Vaishnave Bhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada here is, after patterning the questions systematically given by Maharaj Parikshit, it's kind of giving us a summation of devotional service. Many of the statements that Prabhupada makes is based on Rupa Goswami's books, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Nectar of Instructions, Nectar of Devotion and Nectar of Instructions, which are the guidebooks, the handbooks, the charts by which we can understand how devotional service works and how to avoid things that are against devotional service, as mentioned here by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada gives a nice overview of the two verses in the Nectar of Instructions, verses number 2 and number 3. What is favorable for devotional service? What is unfavorable? Anukulena and Pratikul. I find from my own experience, devotees are very keen in knowing what to do, but they trip and fall because they always do things they shouldn't be doing. They don't know both or then maybe they do know, but seem to neglect. They don't put too much emphasis on avoiding things that must be avoided. But the whole process of devotional service is made up of two principles. Do this and don't do this. And so we have to be very aware of what to avoid. And many of the things are mentioned here. Like preaching the cult of devotion there are different kinds of materialists, such as fruitive workers, modes of passion, mental speculators, modes of goodness, mystic juggerlies, also mode of goodness. All of them are all against the existence of God. They would declare that they themselves are God, and every step in action they depended on the mercy of God, although they don't know it. Therefore, a pure devotee, so Prabhupada, when he speaks about pure devotee, don't get confused, thinking I'm not a pure devotee, doesn't relate to me. What he's talking is about the executing devotional service in the pure way. That's what he's saying. There are two kinds of purities, those who are actually purified from all material desires, but then most of us, we can learn purity by following properly the injunctions given by Rupa Goswami, especially also Raghunath Das Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and their followers, such as Srila Prabhupada. Today also is Bhakti Vinod Thakur's disappearance day. He's one of the greatest acharyas who've spent so much time writing books about pure devotional service. His books are even recommended by Srila Prabhupada for us to read, especially Jaiva Dharma and Chaitanya Shikshamrita. Prabhupada said we should read and study these books also. So we have a dearth of information. We have no dearth of information of spiritual life and what to avoid. Be careful, because what to avoid can overshadow your progress in devotional service if you don't carefully avoid such things. they make devotional service slow, or even sometimes they stop devotional service if we don't avoid the offenses, especially for offenses to the Vaishnavas. So we have this is not some sentimental movement where you just go to worship in the temple, you say a few prayers, you ask God to give you his mercy, and you go home and do the same thing you've been doing even before you came to the temple. That is not Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means to make your consciousness Krishna, or to make your consciousness full in the consciousness of Krishna. And until we get to the platform of pure devotional service, we have to follow certain rules and regulations and restrictions in order to attain that purified consciousness. And that means carefully avoiding activities in the mode of passion, which are fruit of activities, the mode of ignorance, also, which are destructive activities, which cause one to fall down in devotional service. And also the mode of goodness, to think, I would like to simply increase my material situation through the process of devotional service. There are people who take up devotional service in order to do that, to embed better themselves in the material world. Therefore, Prabhupada also talks about making an honest living and not a dishonest living. He said it's better to be a coolie and live honestly. That way you'll receive the mercy of the Lord than someone dishonest who becomes very successful in the material world. Most in the material world, people who are powerful and have big positions are all crooks because they know how to manipulate the material energy, and they know the intelligence of how to put themselves in position to gain more and more material success. And the propaganda nowadays is to follow in that way, and that way you'll become successful, even though it may be against God, it may be against even the civil laws of the state. But people will do anything in order to somehow or other find some material satisfaction in the life of manipulating the material energy. But devotees are not interested in any of that thing. They simply want to serve the Lord. And not only want to serve the Lord, they want to preach the cult of devotional service to the conditioned soul, so they can also get out of their entanglement of material suffering and also come to the platform of understanding where real happiness can be found and how to understand one's relationship with one's source. Krishna is the source of our relationship. In fact, he is the only source. Whatever other sources that may manifest in developing our relationship in any, both material and spiritual, it's just the energies of God. Parasya Shakti Virhaya Suyate Svaga Svaviki Jnana Palakriyacha. This is a verse from the Sweta Swatara Upanishad. So Krishna maintains everything through his energies. And he not only maintains, and he expands everything through his energies, he destroys everything through his energies. We talk about Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu, which are all extensions of the Lord's energies, carry out certain functions in the material world. And then, of course, his spiritual aspect, where he manifests himself in the form of the pure devotees and the process of pure devotional service. So to bring someone back to Krishna is the greatest welfare work that one can do. Simply giving in charity is nice. We do that, feeding the poor, clothing the needy, housing the homeless. Well, there is welfare work on many levels that one can perform. But the highest welfare work is to solve the person's material suffering by giving them the understanding of how they can get out of it. And that is called preaching devotional service, as mentioned here. And Prabhupada said, and it's not easy. He says, success or failure has no meaning for a pure devotee because he is a soldier in the field. As Krishna told Arjuna, fight for the sake of fighting, never considered happiness or distress, honor and dishonor, victory or defeat. He said, fight for me. So everything is done as a service to the Lord, and the results are given by the Lord. So the devotees just have to follow the prescriptions given by the pure devotees who receives their knowledge from Krishna himself, and simply execute their devotional service that way. And everything depends on the Lord. He gives the result based on the particular quality of the activity, whether it's spiritual or material. And so here it's a very interesting purport, quite long and lengthy. It was interesting, but getting a whole overview of the whole process of devotional service. But I notice that Prabhupada was talking a lot about Rupa Goswami's statements, especially in Nectar of Instruction. So I was thinking maybe we can turn to those verses. And Nectar of Instruction, verse number 2, especially. Yeah, NOI, there you go. Yeah, you can go down the page. One's devotional service becomes spoiled when one becomes too entangled in the following activities. Prabhupada mentions eating more than necessary and collecting more funds than required, over endeavoring for mundane things that are difficult to obtain, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters, practicing scripture rules and regulations only for the sake of following it and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting those rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically, associating with worldly-minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, and being greedy for mundane achievements. So eating more than necessary, collecting more funds than necessary, this is called atyahara. And if we eat more than necessary continuously, sometimes devotees think, oh, I went to a feast and I ate a lot. That doesn't mean you broke the principle of atyahara. But if you continually eat more than necessary day after day, then you fall into that delinquent mentality. And what does it do? It takes you out of the mode of goodness into the mode of passion and ignorance. And devotional service becomes very difficult to execute. And one really gets onto the bodily platform of life. One thinks that I am this body, therefore I have to feed it more and more. But one can learn to live with what is necessary to keep body and soul, again, which Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita in the 6th chapter. One who doesn't eat more or doesn't eat less, doesn't sleep more or less, can execute devotional service. Over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to achieve. We make some arrangements to get a few things in order to keep body and soul. But people work so hard, collect so many things, store so many things which they never use, and try to maintain them at the same time. And then when they die, they just have a great amount of material things which are distributed to everyone else. So making big plans for having big arrangements, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who's today's disappearance day, which we celebrate by fasting. I hope the devotees are fasting today. The fast day this morning. For those of you who are still in the morning hours, those of you who are still later in the day, if you should follow that principle very carefully and not take any foodstuffs until noon. It's also the appearance day of Srila Gadadhar Pandit. So here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur really gives a commentary on this whole verse that we're speaking now, and he goes into all of these. When the particular text is called Bhaktiyaloka, one should look it up and find it. It's very interesting. Talking unnecessary mundane subject matters, he lines up 9 different ways you can break this principle. Practicing rules and regulations only for the sake of following. Why do you do what you're doing? Oh, because my spiritual master told me so. What's the benefit? I don't know. He knows. That's why he told me to do it. And that's not the understanding. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing. What is the benefit you're doing? If you do something without understanding the benefit, then you're just mindlessly going through the process and you will not get the full benefit. And then those who think, well, rules and regulations, they're just burdens. So they reject them and work independently, or whatever Prabhupada says whimsically. Rupa Swami says, associating with worldly minded people who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, that means making friends with them, talking intimately with worldly minded people who are always interested in talking about the achievements in the material world, and greedy for mundane achievements, not been able to control the mind and senses. The mind and senses are diverted to so many materialistic things, and one starts to get greedy. I need a new watch. I need a new computer. I need a new house. I need a new wife. I need a new husband. I need a new location. I need this. I need that. I need this. I need that. It becomes excessive. We see that even with devotees, they can't stay. Sometimes some of them devotees can't stay fixed in devotional service. They jump around like monkeys from one place to another, looking for some kind of ideal place, but they never find it because, as Prabhupada said, when you have a problem and you go from one place to another, you take your problem with you. It's not so much the place, it's your consciousness that's the problem. So yeah, greedy for mundane achievements. Then we can go to the next verse number 3, which is what we should be focusing on in our devotional service. And these are the things that are favorable. There are 6 things favorable for devotional service. Being enthusiastic, which means executing devotional service according to the guidance of the spiritual master. Endeavoring with confidence, knowing that if there's some difficulty, still I stay steady in devotional service. I'm not going to give it up, even if it's difficult. Being patient, knowing that Krishna will supply the benefits of devotional service if I stay fixed in my execution of devotional service, not being impatient. I need this result. I'm doing this. Why am I not happy? I'm doing this. Why has it not given me the results I want? No, just understand how to execute devotional service. Follow that very carefully and just be patient, and Krishna will provide in due course of time, sometimes immediately. Acting according to rules and regulations. Regularly, this is about sadhana, hearing, chanting, remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Abandoning all the association of non-devotees. It's mentioned again in this verse that giving up the association of non-devotees is one of the principles for making success. So you might say, well, I associate with non-devotees in my workplace. Yes, but keep that association very formal, friendly. But if we develop intimacy with non-devotees, then we will fall down in our devotional service because their values, their lifestyles, everything they live for are contrary to the process of advancement in devotional service. Following the footsteps of the previous acharyas, that means if you're a sannyasi, follow the ashram of sannyas. If you're a grihasta, learn the rules and regulations of grihasta ashram and follow them accordingly. Whatever ashram you're in, follow those principles. There are verses which illustrate these different categories. Those verses are mentioned by Bhakti Vinod Thakur in his Bhakti Aloka. So we can learn from that also. So Rupa Goswami says, undoubtedly these things will assure this complete sex of devotional service. So meditate on these, try to understand these, go deeper into what the meaning is of each and every one of them. If you focus on these and carefully avoid what was mentioned in the previous verse, then your devotional service will be, what we say, rapid. You'll make fast progress in devotional service. Okay, these are some things we can think about. This is Prabhupada's purport in this particular verse is quite extensive. We can speak about this on this purport practically the whole day. Prabhupada covered so much in a kind of a bullet point presentation on the essence of the execution of devotional service. So you may ask questions related to any aspect of devotional service because it's all covered in these verses.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much. Such a wonderful class, and especially sharing about nectar of instruction, which is very important to all of us in devotional service. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, any questions or comments or realizations? You can please go ahead now. Maharaj, while others are thinking, I have a question. So usually when we do a work, we should not expect results, but somehow we'll be expecting like something will be there, the end result. So how to become detached? And also the strength we should get from
Well,
spirituality.
the answer is if you get the results, fine. If you don't get the results, fine.
Okay.
So the idea is you don't lose your enthusiasm in devotional service if the results don't come. You stay steady. One who is steady in both happiness and distress, success and failure, can actually execute the process of devotional service. So you might be looking for a particular result. And if it comes, fine. If it doesn't come, fine. That doesn't deter the practitioner in their execution of devotional. They're steady in happiness and distress, success and failure, whatever. That's the point. If you focus on that point, you'll understand it's not about, it came out good, it didn't come out good. Well, if you feel like it could have been better, then you might see, well, what did I do that maybe could have made the quality of the results better? Maybe I was a little inattentive. Maybe I didn't follow the instructions given in execution of this particular service. So we can also see how to improve just like when we preach, we're trying to see how to reach the conditioned souls. So we experiment and we see, oh, this wasn't such a good way to uh, speak it to this person, and then we learn and we critique. We can critique our devotional service to see how we can improve. We want the results, but ultimately it's up to Krishna. And he'll give the results. It's not that we shouldn't try for results, but the results are not the success in devotional service. It's the execution of the devotional service. But still, we want a result. Just like when we go out and distribute books, we want people to take them. And we think, and the best way, how can we reach these people so they will be receptive to what we have to offer? So, we're always thinking how to improve. We give a class and we think, what is the best way I can present this knowledge so that people will be interested and will ask questions, will be responsive. So we can critique that way and look for what we say better results in our devotional service. But the point that we should understand is that no matter what results you get, it's not going to be as here, you can go to the verse. Go to the verse. It's in let's see, fifth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse number 20. I think it's 520. Yeah. This verse really sums up what I'm trying to say. Okay, 520. Very nice verse. Yeah. Na parishyat priyam praptya, no dija prapya cha priyam. Stira buddhir asammodo, brahmavid brahmanastira. A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant, nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, Okay, a person who neither rejoices, oh, this was so good. Hey, I got it. Now I know how devotional service works. Yeah. Nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant. Oh no, I blew it again. I give up. No, a person who doesn't follow either one of these two, who is self-intelligent, understands the process, who is unbewildered, who knows the science of God, is already situated in transcendence. So at least we can take the first line.
Mm.
This is what is being here given here. Uh, just like I can tell you one story. We were preaching in one city in America, Cincinnati, Ohio. A professor came to our classes in the evening, and he was full. He was very, what we say, very. Um, he would pose so many questions in a very erudite way. Spoke very pucka English, very. I mean, you could say he was, very educated. And but we would give the answers, and he couldn't understand the answers, but he would always ask another question based on the answers we gave. So we never came to any conclusion with him. So we thought, he's intelligent, but he's too intelligent. Papa said over intelligent. So he couldn't get it because he had too much intelligence. So we thought, what can we do with him? He seems like we want to help him advance in devotion. So we said, all right, do you know gardening? He said, yes, I know gardening. I'm very good at gardening. We said, okay. Actually, in the backyard of our temple, we're trying to develop a nice garden. Could you come every day? At least come tomorrow in the morning and just work in the garden. And then you can come to the program in the evening. He said, fine, I have the day off. Came early, worked the entire day, and we gave him all of the equipment he needed, and he really worked nicely, and things came out really good. And then that evening when he came back in for the class, he said, now I understand how everything goes. He was really happy with the results. Everything worked out nicely. So we said, all right, nice. Can you come tomorrow and do it again? He said, yes, very much. So he came tomorrow the next day. But the next day, nothing worked out. It didn't work out. He was frustrated. He came back. He said, I can understand it. Everything I did the same thing I did the day before, and everything worked nicely. But today, nothing worked. He said, welcome to devotional service. You're not the doer. So Krishna was teaching him. He said he was trying to formalize devotional service into a mechanical category by saying, if you do it this way, this will happen. You do it this way, this will happen, this like this. So Krishna wanted to show him that your formalization is not the means by which you gain understanding of devotional service. You simply work your best and depend on me. Yeah.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah.
So we gave him a very strong lesson. He kept coming, and so he actually became a nice devotee. But because he was so intelligent, he couldn't understand the simple understanding that you try your best and you depend on the Lord for mercy. So,
Mm. Yeah, it's very difficult. The main part, like we are not the doers, that part we are missing, Maharaj, to remember all the time.
we're
So,
we're not the ultimate doer, but we are part of the activity. Because if you don't initiate the activity, it doesn't happen.
mm,
So there is you, the performer. There is the effort you make. It's called the endeavor. There is the time, place, and circumstance, the situation. There's the ingredients you use in order to carry out the activity. And there is the supersoul to give the result. So these five factors make up all activity. So you're 1/5
mm,
of the initiating activity. If the endeavor is not there or it's weak, if some of the ingredients are not there, if you don't understand the situation, you may do it in the wrong way. So all of these things make up the activity. And ultimately, Krishna is the super soul in the heart of all living entity, and he gives the result. That's why he says, in all cases, just depend on me.
Mm. So does it apply for all the material things too, Maharaj?
Yeah,
Okay.
but the materialists don't know it.
Mm.
Sometimes they get their desired result, but they don't get the happiness that
Yeah.
they're looking for. What is the use of doing things if it doesn't satisfy you or make you happy? They just do things and thinking it's them as a doer, all they have to do is restructure and do it a different way to get a better result. And they get happy if they get some result or they get some satisfaction. And if the result doesn't come, they blame God. They thank God when, no, they don't. They give themselves credit when everything works good, and they blame God when nothing works.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Such a detailed explanation. Thank you so much. Thomas Prabhu, please go ahead. Are you able to unmute? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Sri Nityananda. I was curious. Apparently, I found myself, I'm apparently in the ashrama, the grahastha, the householder. And as part of my seva, I guess, was that His Grace Yugal Kishore Prabhu asked me to bring a business into existence to serve the community. And prior to my being a business person, I was a scholar. I sold books, and I studied to be a philosophy professor. Well, I had never been a landscaper or anything like that. And so I find myself now plunged into the world of um, business and especially business with South Indians and some people who are devotees, and then just others within the sort of broader Hindu or Krishna conscious community. And I now have invested, and I'm finding that the sort of rules of business are very, I was in conversation with my brother-in-law who was in that business before, and he was sort of shocked that I wasn't out to get as much as I possibly could from people, just in the regular parlance, to screw people over. And when that hit, also, I have, in a way that I'd never before in my life, become a target of being, forgive the term, screwed over. Many people try to get as much as they can from you, and so I I'm sorry for talking so long. The it's full of spiritual messages, but every time I get, as a business owner, screwed over by a client, I agonize. Or like if we have a major equipment failure, it twists me. And then sometimes when the success of the project is so great, I have had to say to myself, I'm not the doer. What I'm just delirious with, wow, they managed to install the light bulbs, incredible. You know, and so my question is, or my reflection on what you were talking about earlier, and that, how does one deal with that sea of people trying to get something over on you constantly as a feature of, in a Krishna conscious way?
Thank you for your very complicated question, which has so many dynamics to it. And there's an easy answer. Do your best. Just depend on Krishna. That's all. And you have to work with the details that come by way of doing that particular service. If you're given the service by the temple authority, and of course you are, then you are empowered to do something on behalf of Krishna. So there's an empowerment there that comes with the instructions. Now it's up to you because you have the, what we say, what's the word? Previous know-how, the experience of working in such circles to make it happen as a devotee successful business and to engage other members of the community into that would be a great service. So you're actually very fortunate to get this particular instruction.
Truly, I mean, I do love to serve the community, and and the Krishna temple is a good client. I didn't mean to imply that they were somehow a bad client, or no, I have a beautiful relationship with the business, with the temple. I'm sort of more talking about the other just clients in the broader community that I have been struggling with. Certainly not the
You
Krishna.
you can expect that. Don't be cheated, that's all. Don't let them cheat you and don't try to cheat them. If they see that you're not trying to cheat them, they will be more inclined to tell their friends about this business that may be beneficial for their friends also. It's hard to find an honest businessman. Sometimes we use that, we say it's an oxymoron that a businessman is actually honest because business means to get as much as you can from both from the people that are working under you and from the clients that are coming to you. But that's ruthlessness. In the Brahma Samhita, it talks about uh, that a person who does business is not allowed to make more than 25% personal profit. They may make more profit, but all of that profit should go back into the business to expand the business or to maintain the business. But for personal profit, 25%. That way, one doesn't become greedy for more and more and more. The 25% means just enough to live nicely and also make some savings at the same time. Sometimes we can't hit the exact method, but this is from Brahma Samhita. So do it as a service to Krishna. And sometimes you see devotees who are, we have a lot of devotee businessmen in our society. You may also consult them and see whether the things that they encounter that you could also learn from. Because devotee business is a little different than the ordinary materialistic business world and how to do things also. Because we're still trying to stay Krishna conscious or become Krishna conscious through the activity and not become just result conscious. So yeah, you're actually quite lucky, and I'm actually happy to hear that you got that service. That means Yugala Kishore knows that you can do it. He wouldn't have given it to you if he think you were going to fail at it.
Yes, and his guidance is wonderful. You know, he named the business. It in some ways, yeah. I mean, it and the support of the our specific community has been wonderful. um, but yeah, just being a business person as a first time, I've definitely struggled with sort of the traps of whatever and of doing it, and so. It is a
Take, take consultation from devotees who have some, or those who know this particular type of business and how it works. I'm sure it's something that is within the confines of acceptability within the devotee community. And it's not something that is like, like I've known devotees who have grocery stores. So they say we can't really attract customers unless we sell cigarettes because people will come in and buy cigarettes and then they'll buy so many other things just because they wanted to come in and buy cigarettes. So, or sometimes they have liquor in there because people come for that and then they buy so many other things. So I told one of my disciples, I said, he had a business like that. I said, you can't keep doing that. Krishna's going to smash you. And it wound up that his business got burglarized 3 or 4 times. So whatever he made was lost by, someone came and they stole money off him at gunpoint. So yeah, he finally gave it up. So everything should be within the confines of the 4 regulative principles and not outside of that. Again, I'm sure Yugla Kishore knows all of these things. So anyway, when I come there, you can tell me more.
I can't wait, Guru Maharaj.
We'll be there in about a week.
Yes, we're eagerly anticipating your arrival.
We're going to bring a whole crowd of people with us.
Excellent.
Everyone's welcome to come. There's initiations on July 6th in Farmington Hills.
Okay, nice.
So we have 10 candidates for initiation,
Yay.
plus
Okay.
1 for second initiation.
Yeah.
So please come, and that's just part of the weekend. There are many, many other activities that will center around, inspiring the devotees in Krishna consciousness. Hopefully, Krishna will be merciful, which he always is.
Yes, Maharaj, definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Thomas.
So, Maharaj, we have comments and questions in chat. So, Vrishabh Prabhu is commenting that he had a realization he wants to share. So, Hare Krishna, dear Gurudev and Vaishnavas, one realization I had while listening about not hankering for anything. Very inspiring when Krishna sends you something you were thinking about the other day. It came by itself without asking anyone and such. Seems much better than trying to get things we are actually not sure do we need.
Yeah, but you endeavor in devotional service and depend on the mercy of Krishna, that's all. But don't think, well, I don't have to do anything. And Arjuna thinking, well, I'm Krishna's on the chariot, I'll just go to sleep and let him fight. Forget that. Krishna said, fight for the sake of fighting. So we have to try, but we have to learn how to be detached at the same time. That's the art of bhakti. The art of bhakti is to work in such a way as to try your best using your intelligence, using your experiences, using whatever you can use in executing your devotional service. But the ultimate principle is Krishna's mercy.
So, and one more realization he's sharing. Today I had realization that we are not trying to chant and be happy directly. We try to chant and make Krishna happy.
Yeah, then you'll be happy.
Okay. Yeah, and we have questions from Sonal Mataji and Kiran Mataji. They both are asking almost the same question, like how to deal with non-devotee family members, as I often find it difficult to distance myself from them due to my responsibility.
Good
And even
idea.
Kiran Mataji is also saying the same.
It's a good idea. Donald's afraid to speak today for some reason. Did I
Want to unmute?
did I scare you, and that's why you're not saying anything?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. No, there is some background noise, so I wasn't sure. That's why I typed.
And relatives, you never know. Relatives, generally, we try to bring them into Krishna consciousness, but if it becomes clear that they're not bringable, then just go on with your devotional service. Don't listen to them because they have other values. They want to see you materially situated, materially successful. You can be polite and respectful, but they shouldn't control your life. They control your life, they'll always do things that are contrary to spiritual life. Sometimes they'll say, "Why are you trying so hard? Why you just, go on Sunday and be there in the temple and then come the rest of the week, be a nice person." They don't understand that the goal of life is to awaken our love for Krishna. They think the goal of life is somehow to have nice family members that can sit around and talk nonsense all day. So, I know some cultures, I won't mention which one, you can go in the summertime, the cafes, they have outdoor cafes, are full of people. And they sit there practically all day just eating and talking. That's all they do. Right in the Sringalila. The places are overflowing with people, and outdoor cafes and outdoor restaurants. And they just sit there. You get their different shifts. You get the morning shift, the afternoon shift, the evening shift. They just sit and talk. We don't even care what they're talking about because we know it's nothing valuable. No, talking for the sake of talking. That's the world today.
So Maharaj, just to follow up on that. So when sometimes I have to be with them for some time when they're talking about different things, which I don't want to listen, but then I still have to be there. So shall I keep on chanting in the mind so I don't get drawn? Because otherwise, if you hear, then you would want to react, and the whole conversation starts in a different way.
Don't let them see it, but put some earplugs in. And every once in a while, when they look at you, just nod your head like this. That's all. When you're dealing with people who want to cheat you, you also have to cheat. So you don't get cheated by those who want to cheat you. Relatives, from my experience with devotees, they're usually always opposing the devotee in one way or another. Some are very avaricious and opposing, and others are very mildly, but trying to explain to the devotee it's not so important. You have to also take time for your material life and be successful there also.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati says, devotee doesn't get angry, but he can get angry in three different ways. One, he should get angry at himself if he finds himself lazy. If he sees himself being lazy, he should get angry, and that'll help him get out of the laziness. Two, he should get angry at relatives who try to stop them in devotional service. And three, get angry at the demons for causing so much problems in the world. So relatives are there. We can't choose our relatives. That's the problem. You have Uncle Fred there who can't stop talking. There's always complaining about everything. You know?
Yes, Maharaj.
And Alice, she's over there trying to feed you more than you can possibly eat. You know, what can you do? Our real family is the family of devotees, because devotees actually care about each other in the right way. And we also care about each other even in an ordinary way, too. Devotee gets sick, a devotee needs something, the devotee is there to help. So Prabhupada used to say, Prabhupada was married and he had 5 children. He had three boys and 2 girls. So Prabhupada said, I gave up my family life. Now I have a big family with 300 children. And then he went on to say, and no botheration of wife. Sorry if I stepped on a few feet, but I'm just telling you what Prabhupada said. He was saying it's so wonderful to be in the association of devotees. It's like a family. That's the way it's supposed to be. That means family members always care about other family members. That's what it means to be in family life. So when you enter into the society of devotees, you enter into Krishna's family, and that becomes your real family. And then when you leave the body, you go back to the spiritual world. Then you enter into the larger family in the spiritual world.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you
So
so
we're
much.
not against family life. We're against those things that destroy relationships. So family many times act against one another and make it difficult for one another to live. I know certain family members, they're envious of their siblings, and they'll even try to take down their siblings by doing things against them. So the real family is devotees.
Yes. Okay, Maharaj, there is a question on chat by Hima Mataji. She is asking, Hare Krishna Maharaj, being new devotees, how to know we are spiritually advancing or not?
By how much you're becoming eager for Krishna consciousness and how much you're losing your enthusiasm for material life. That is the main barometer. More eager to associate with devotees, to engage in the activities of devotional service, and losing one's enthusiasm for material activities. People come to me and said, since I became a devotee, I don't like my job anymore. I said, very good, you're making progress.
Thank you, Maharaj. So, one more question on chat by Deron Prabhu. So, he's asking, in both my professional life and spiritual practice, I notice that some tasks I approach with clarity and ease. They happen almost effortlessly. But other actions, even when I know they are essential for my job and well being, I avoid. I see the consequences and even feel the pain of avoidance, yet something in me resists. How do I understand and overcome this deep rooted inertia or laziness, especially when the cost of not acting is clear?
Mhm. Talking about not acting in the material way?
Yeah, anything professional and spiritual in both. Maharaj.
Well, as just like we can see, we have the example of, we heard from Thomas how the said temple president gave him a service to start a business. So that doesn't mean you just you work at it. You may try to make it as successful as you can. So if you have a job, then do it nicely and give the results to Krishna also. Give part of the results to Krishna. That is called karma yoga. Karma yoga means to work in a material way, and whatever results you get, you offer to Krishna. Not all of it, you get partial. You keep some to maintain yourself in the material world. So, but if you're losing your enthusiasm for these things, that's natural, because we understand that material life is really shallow. There's nothing there. All it is an activity that's based on trying to get a particular result in order to enjoy something in the future, or maybe something in the immediate present. No, material life is just dry. There's no juice to it. That's why people have to engage in illicit sex, intoxication, all kinds of sinful activities just to get some so-called pleasure in material life. Because the statistics show, and this is in the United States, that 5% of the people, I'm sorry, five, how is it understood? 5% of the population is happy, some is happy. 5% of the population is suffering, and 90% are bored. So boredom is really material life. It's the most boring thing. So boredom is another form of suffering. So you might say 95% of the people are suffering. There's no juice in material life. It's just, that's why people take to all kinds of other activities to make up for the happiness they're looking for. So they do it in a very sinful way, and then they suffer even more. You speak to a person who is an alcoholic, you tell him not to drink, you're telling him not to enjoy. So he'll drink, and he feels a little happy when he drinks, but at the same time, he suffers later. But he doesn't care about that suffering because he's there for that little bit of pleasure. That's material life. So if you have a particular occupation and you're required to continue in that way, work at it in the best way you can, but if you're actually reached a certain point where you just don't have any taste anymore for material life, then you're a candidate for pure devotional service. Then you have actually understood everything. But we don't tell people to give up their material activities unless they're ready to. And when you're ready to, that means you're ready to dive into devotional service full time. That means usually you join a temple, become part of a congregation, and center all of your life on devotional activities. But if you still have to maintain yourself out there for family and responsibilities, then do that until the point you get tired of that, and then you can give it all up. If you haven't reached the point of satiation yet in material life, then continue until you reach that point, and then you can dive in Krishna consciousness full time. But in the meantime, you can still practice Krishna consciousness in any situation in life. We don't tell everybody to drop everything they're doing materially, because some people, they'll do that and then they'll regret it later because they weren't ready for it. So only when you're ready to give yourself fully to devotional service, which will come in due course of time, then you proceed in that way. But for now, at least the way I understand it is that you still have a job and you still need to work at it. So work at it in the best possible way. As long as you don't commit sinful activities in the execution of your occupation, then that will hurt your devotional life.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you, thank you, Maharaj.
Darren, if you're not doing anything on the weekend, come up to Farmington Hills in Detroit. Revati and her husband, Kiran, they're both coming along with their family to there's a family in, I think you might know them, Kiran, Revati, and their sons are coming up from Charlotte to come to Farmington Hills on the weekend of the 4th of July. So you might want to come also.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the invitation. Thank you. I will look into it.
Thank you.
Thank
It'll
you.
be a power pack weekend. You'll have a nice experience, and you'll meet so many more devotees also.
Nice.
And Charlotte to Detroit is nuts. It's not Detroit, it's Farmington Hills, which is about an hour from Detroit, I think, going west, isn't it, Thomas?
Thomas Prabhu?
Thomas knows.
Detroit is about 35 minutes from Farmington, east of Farmington.
Oh, okay. Fine, thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. So,
Okay, we got a question from Raja Janapriya Radha from
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada and all the bodies.
all
Thank
the way
you very
from
much.
all the way from Barcelona, Spain.
I am in Argentina up to now.
Where are you now?
In Argentina. It's cold. It's very cold here.
You're in Argentina now.
Yes, I came back to Argentina to do my paperwork to make possible to stay more time in Spain. I need some legal papers to fix here. But I think I'm going back as soon as possible, about in a month, I think.
Good, good, good.
So Maharaj, I need your guidance if it's possible, because there in Spain we are organizing this department for the caring of devotees. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say it in English properly. Do you understand? I need guidance because, for example, books from devotees, specialists in these tasks, because there are some things that I want to make a project, but well, with good basis to.
You want more information on how to do the service?
Look up, and to make a project.
Look up Prabhupada's statements on leadership, which are many. And then from that position, you know how to manage and take care of devotees. Leadership principles are actually the basis of devotee care. There's books on leadership also. There was one that was released 2 years ago. So you can do a little research within the devotee community and find things on leadership. Or if you want, I'll send you something on your email, as long as you send me your email address.
Okay, Maharaj. Should I send that to Radha Bhakti?
Yeah. Mhm.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yeah. Okay, good luck.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Should we stop here?
Yes, dear devotees, any more last minute questions? Maharaj, Trupti Mataji, she is having a request that she wants to, one devotee wants to take your blessings. She is an elderly Mataji from
I know all of that has come to me already. There's no need to discuss it here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. And as far as what's his name? He sent me a message just now.
Sure. Vrishabh Prabhu?
Yeah. Say, I just began my japa, so I'll call him after I finish japa.
Yes, Maharaj. Vrishabh Prabhu, Maharaj will call you later.
Yeah. Okay. So today is Bhakti Vinod Thakur's disappearance and Gadadhar Pandit's appearance day. It's for those of you who are there, you should know. I don't know, maybe the time differences from different places in the world, but at least in America today, we're honoring this day. So that means a fast in the morning. We're honoring Bhakti Vinod Thakur by fasting until lunchtime.
Yeah. Yes, Maharaj. We have a temple program now in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I just want to quickly announce tomorrow's class. Tomorrow's class is with Harrisburg devotees, and the verse number.
Yeah, but let's tomorrow I'm traveling
Okay.
and I have a flight around 10 o'clock, so I won't be able to do the class tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, Maharaj.
So you can see who you can find. I should be okay for Friday's going to be tough too. Friday at the same time, I'm giving class at Gita Nagari. So
can we all join the live stream, Maharaj?
we can try to connect with Gita Nagari on that one, yeah.
Whom to contact, Maharaj? Kishori?
Chidi Shakti is one.
Okay.
And you know her, Chidi Shakti.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah.
And yeah, Prem Kishori should be okay also.
Okay.
The number of people you could find out from.
Yes.
Maharaj, is there a class on Saturday also in Gita Nagari?
Yeah, there's classes set Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I might not be able to be there any of the 3 days, including tomorrow.
Sure, Maharaj.
So yeah, but you have many persons who are quite enthusiastic to speak. Yourself is one. You can also ask, you know.
I have Satyabhama Mataji, Vrishabh Prabhu, and Vrindavan Nath Prabhu.
Vrindavan,
Vinodani Mataji.
Sri Devi, so many.
Sri Devi Mataji will also be in Gita Nagari, I guess, for the weekend, Maharaj.
We're waiting for Sonal to give class too.
Yes, Maharaj. She is facilitating Gita, Bhagavad Gita. So, yeah.
If she gives class, I'm going to listen. Learn something.
It's a long way, Maharaj. I need to learn a lot.
I have full confidence that I know you can give a good class. Something that we can take away. Sukhabaha likes to talk, so we can give her a chance to give class too.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Previously she gave, but now I don't know why she is not coming forward to give class.
When she's offline, she preaches all the time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Such a wonderful class and nice discussion. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Danda Pranam. Hare Krishna.
I'll
Thank you,
message
Guru
about
Maharaj.
that.
Danda Pranam. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Guru
Krishna
Maharaj.
Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare
Guru Maharaj.